Hello, this is MattiAce, and I want to make a video here where I primarily focus on ESF, or the Scythe versus Liberators. And yeah, I say primarily because it's not the only thing this video is going to be about, but it's mostly about that. And now, this is something I haven't covered that much on my channel because honestly, I have been very careful engaging Liberators. Because I know how dangerous they are. I've been killed by Daltons and tank busters so many times, and I also killed quite a number of ESFs with a Dalton myself, so yeah, normally I just try to stay away from them. And it's also one of the reasons is because before the air-to-air nose gun was nerfed, I was using the Hailstorm and the Rotaries, and that's a funny little side note to the fact that they actually nerfed those guns, is that they were not even good enough for their main purpose. So anyway, the pilot that I'm fighting here is Hunter. He has been one of my arc enemies here on Cobalt for basically as long as I played here, or at least as long as I played Vanu. Now the thing about Hunter is that he is one of the most experienced players on Cobalt on the TR side, but he has recently switched over to NC. We've killed each other's I don't even know how many times. But either way, the default guns of the three ESFs are, in my opinion, many times better at taking out Liberators than the air-to-air gun, and that is for one reason only, and it's the ammo capacity. And all the other things, damage over range, fire rate and all that stuff, it is definitely better to go against Liberators with a default gun than with a dedicated air-to-air nose gun. Now anyway, this is late night and the server is more or less empty, which is a very big deal actually, because one of the most important things when, at least for me, when I'm fighting against Liberators is that I need to be able to freely maneuver. But normally when you play on live server, when it's packed with people, you can't do that. You will be very limited in where you can move, and that limitation will also go for your enemies, meaning that the enemies will feel safe over their controlled areas, and of course the same goes for me. Now when it comes to how to deal with an ESF as a Liberator pilot or as a Liberator crew, that is something that I suggest you guys who are dedicated Liberator pilots and gunners discuss amongst yourselves. I really can't add much to that because my experience in Liberators are very limited. Now here's one thing that I really want to point out, and that is very important when you are an ESF pilot. When you have your opponent below you like this, it is very hard to dodge and maneuver. That's why I do this kind of crazy maneuver, which is something you may want to be careful with, because you expose yourself and you make yourself a very easy target there for a short period of time. So now, lucky for me, this was a very unfair fight. Hunter was already smoking before I started engaging him from above. So now there are a lot of changes that are happening to the ESFs now, and I'm assuming it's going to be more nerfs to anything that requires skill, and the roles of the ESF is what they call it on SOE going to be more defined. Basically it means that it's going to turn into rock paper scissors. Now the sad part about the balancing of ESFs is that SOE seem to listen to people who can't fly, people who hate flying, and people that know nothing about flying. It's also quite clear that nobody that works on SOE knows anything about flying ESFs themselves. Now, if SOE did listen to people that actually know anything about ESFs, they would balance the Scythe to get closer to the other two ESFs in air-to-air combat, and then something might have been done to the speed of the Scythe, where it actually does fall behind. Now, when it comes to fighting Liberators, I really don't know which one I prefer between the Scythe and the Mossy. I think it favors the Mossy a tiny bit maybe, I'm not really sure, but my absolute favorite is definitely the Reaver. But that is not without the Reaver having some drawbacks itself. Now the Reaver is good because of the stronger vertical thrust, but mostly because of the stronger afterburner. But the afterburner is very limited in an ESF, and you always run out really fast. So now remember that tanker that killed me with his Vanguard? And let me just say this is really strange why they nerfed the Prowler, because it was too easy to kill aircrafts with it. I get killed 10 times more by Vanguards than by Prowlers. I hardly ever get killed by Prowlers, but Vanguards, they shoot me down all the time. Now, SWE probably have some statistics on this, but I have to admit, I have given up any hope that SWE will make any sense in their balance changes by now. Anyway, this is how easy it is to take out the Vanguard with a ESF. And that's the thing with these turrets. As a tanker, you can easily challenge and beat a anti-vehicle turret with a tank. But as a single ESF pilot, you don't stand a chance. Not even if it's a very inexperienced player in it. As a funny thing, a lot of people have reacted on the fact that people like me and more well-known pilots take more flak. And during this gameplay, there were two pilots sniped, and I like cookies, who could fly over Torridge for almost half an hour and no flak was shooting them. Now it is late night, so don't get me wrong. But the funny thing is that these are not bad pilots. They are really good. They've really improved lately, but they're just not as well known as the pilots of Bling. For me, I take flak constantly, no matter how empty the server is. Anyway, that's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching, and bye for now.
Sorry, MattiAce.
That one's going on YouTube, man. That one's going on YouTube.